Hi and welcome. In this video I'm going to be talking about how to back up the Cisco router configuration to a tftp server. Um, an overview on that is I'm going to kind of go by the book here because it does do a better job of explaining how this works than I do. Um, Basically what happens is after a router is configured, the running configuration should be saved to the startup configuration file. Um, Another good idea is to save the configuration file to another location, such as a network server or a tftp server. Um, the reason being is because if the NVRAM fails or becomes corrupt due to like a power outage or a power shortage, um, and the router cannot load the startup configuration file, another copy is available if this happens. Configuration files can be saved to a network server using the tftp protocol. Um, the tftp enabled server must be accessible to the router via network connection. As soon as the running configuration is saved to the startup config file, save the startup config to the tftp server. And that's a really good idea to do, because if you don't copy your running configuration to the startup configuration, and you go to turn that router off, or without saving it, or if you have a power supply during the time you're configuring the running configuration, you're going to have to turn the router back on and make all those changes all over again. So it saves a lot of time to back up everything to a tftp server, and also the NVRAM, the memory of the router. To get started, I'm going to be using Free Screen to Video, which is a program offered by Coyote Soft. They actually have a lot of other neat programs as well. Like the one I use is the AVI to MPEG-4 converter. It also converts WMVs over to AVIs, or WMVs over to MPEG-4, or however you want to convert your videos. The second program I'm going to be using, and that I've used in all of my videos, is the Cisco Packet Tracer program. This is one of my favorite programs offered by the Cisco Network Academy. Basically allows users who are interested in the IT field, or going to school or studying to become an IT admin or something similar. You can install a virtual network using fake routers, switches, and devices, so you don't actually have to go out and buy all these parts and have them strung out all over your house. And really cool program to use. To get started, what I'm going to do is I already have Packet Tracer open here, and I have a console cable going from the customer PC to the router. I'm going to go ahead and open up the customer PC, click on Desktop, and go to Terminal. Click Enter. The password for this is Cisco. So the first thing we're going to want to do is copy the running configuration to the startup configuration by typing copy running dash config, and then we're going to type in startup config. And what that does is say, hey, I want to take the running configuration and I want to copy it and move it over to the startup configuration. The destination file name. And that's the destination file name that we want, so we can click enter. And now our running configuration is copied over to the startup configuration. The next thing we want to do is copy the startup configuration to the tftp server. The first thing we're going to want to do is test the connectivity to the tftp server to make sure that everything's performing properly. So ping 192.168.1.10. That's the IP address of the tftp server. We got a 100% rate, so we know that that's up and running. So now we'll copy the startup config to the tftp server by typing copy space startup dash config space tftp. And again, that just says, okay, I want to take the startup config that I copied from the running config, and I want to move that over to the tftp server now. And the address or the name of the remote host is going to be the 192.168.1.10, and that is the destination file name. You can actually, I believe there's a way to change that if you want, but I'm not going to do that in this particular video. It did write the startup config of 971 bytes, copied, tells us how long it took to copy all that. So now we want to verify that our on the local server, if the tftp service is, everything's functioning right there. So we'll minimize the customer PC terminal, open up the local server, click on config tab, and then we'll click on tftp, and the customer router configuration is now there. So this is a more visual representation of how we moved our startup configuration over to the tftp server. So now we'll go back to the PC0 terminal. And then I'm going to simulate what would happen if something happened to the startup configuration. So let's simulate a quote-unquote lightning storm, if you will. We'll type in erase the startup config. Oh no, there goes everything that we just did. And it just deleted the startup configuration, so now we don't have anything. Now we can reload this. We need to reload the router. And we're in luck because that quote-unquote power storm erased that configuration, but because we backed it up to the tftp server, we do not have to go and make all the time-consuming changes. So we'll reload the router by typing reload, and then confirm with enter. Give this a minute, should start reloading. Continue with the configuration dialog, we'll type no. And then, let's see. Now we want to configure the fast Ethernet 00 interface again, so we'll type in en compt to enter global mode, interface FA00, and then we'll set the IP address to 192.168.1.1. Give it a subnet mask. Of 255.255.255.0, or Z if you live in a foreign country. Or never mind, that's Z. What the fuck am I talking about? Wow, that's horrible. I'm getting my letters mixed up with numbers there. My bad. So that should be everything on the IP address and the subnet mask. And we'll do a no shut. And now what we want to do is go into the serial interface. So type in INT, or you can spell interface S000, and then we'll do a no shut there as well. And that changes the state to up on both the fast Ethernet and the serial interface. And now we can ping the tftp server. So we can type in ping 192.168.1.10. Son of a gun. Okay, we'll exit this and try it again. Ping 192.168.1.10. I think I was in the wrong mode there. Let's try that. And I spelled it wrong. We'll do this again because I spelled pint instead of ping. Oh, for Christ's sakes. Ping 192.168.1.10. Let's try that. There we go. It really helps to be in the right mode. Apologize for the language there. Sometimes this stuff does aggravate me a little bit. I will tell you guys right now, if you're new to the IT field, one thing that's helped me out a lot is, if you get frustrated with it, if you're really trying to figure it out and it's just not going the way you planned, walk away from the computer for a little bit. That's the best advice I can give you, because I personally have to do that occasionally, or I end up wanting to throw the computer out the window. So as you can see there, going back to our activity here, the success rate is 80%. We are getting packets, and everything is performing properly. That concludes my video. Again, to recap what we did here, we copied our startup config to tftp. Well, first we copied the running configuration to the startup configuration. Then we took the startup configuration, copied it over to tftp server, and then we did some ping commands and stuff to make sure everything was working properly. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. Again, like I said, I am still new to some of this. Don't stress out too much about it. If it's really not making sense now, it will make sense in the future. I can promise you that. Just keep pushing forward, and like I said, give yourself plenty of breaks if you need to. Thanks for watching this video. I encourage you to watch it again if it doesn't make sense, or do some more research online. Appreciate your time.